The year was 1587. A group of English colonists led by John White arrived at Roanoke Island in present-day North Carolina, aiming to establish a permanent settlement. Part of a larger effort by the English crown to conquer the New World. However, John White had to return to England to gather supplies shortly after, and due to various delays, including the Spanish Armada. How's that for a...
Hey,
Sorry,
get
honey.
out of the way.
He didn't return until 1590, 3 years later. Now, when White arrived, he found the settlement completely abandoned. There was no trace of the colonists, no bodies, no signs of a struggle, just empty buildings. The only clue left behind was the word Croatoan carved into a tree and CRO carved into a nearby post, referring to the Croatoan tribe that lived on the nearby island. Despite searching the area, no evidence of the settlers were found, and to this day, the mystery of their disappearance remains unsolved. It's another middle school history day here in MKUSUAL.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Dennis. We are like MK Ultra, but more normal. So, do you remember the story of Roanoke?
No, not at all, actually.
I remember, oddly enough, it was like a paragraph in all our history textbooks when they were talking about, Plymouth Rock and the Pilgrims and the first Thanksgiving. Just there would be this story of Roanoke that we've never lost sight of, I guess, in our history and in our nation.
I'm calling it now, SkinWalker.
SkinWalker, that might be part of this episode.
Okay.
The vanilla theories, I'll call them, were assimilation by the native tribes, including these Croatoans, based on the carving. There's also an attack by that tribe. I wonder if they were cannibals, which would explain the no bodies.
Yeah.
Starvation or disease. That seems odd to me because of the mysterious carvings. Relocation.
If it were starvation or disease, there would be graves.
Right.
For someone 3
Yes.
years later to find.
That's right. That's a good point. Starvation and disease. Also, you would have found the bodies and bones. They might have moved down the river for more resources, or shipwrecks and misfortune. Probably the worst theory. That it's just all a big coincidence. And also, if they relocated, I guess this is one of history's mysteries. If they relocated, why wouldn't they ever meet up again or see, the new settlers?
Send a scout back to check if they came back yet. I mean,
maybe they just hated this John White guy. They're like, he's gone.
Let's do a prank.
Let's do history's greatest prank.
Okay, did it say how many people were in the settlement?
That's a good... How many people were in Roanoke? Okay, Jamie, pull it up. I just call you Jamie.
Pull it up.
Austin, our producer. 115 people.
So that's not a ton of people.
It's not a ton, but it's not insubstantial.
I assume mostly adult men and a few women.
I would assume men and their
demo?
wives. Probably more single men than single women.
Yeah.
And also, this is going to count their children.
Can you imagine taking your child
to the new world? It'd be like taking your child to Mars.
Yeah.
Which is probably why this mystery is, how we still tell the stories of the astronauts who didn't make it, or the Apollo 13 story, or the Gemini story, or the, if we ever do colonize Mars and the first 100 people who go up all vanish, we're probably going to talk about that forever.
True. That's a good point.
So it makes sense, but this is MKUSUAL. It's not...
it's not that simple.
It's not that simple. Nothing can be that simple. I have to know, though. Can you look up if the Croatoans were cannibals? With that, I don't know why I'm obsessed with that. I have a book on cannibalism that I read in college that I kept and reread a couple times.
The other night when I was getting ready to go out, I said, does my outfit look okay? And you said it looks real yummy.
This actually says they were known for being peaceful. There's no historical evidence they were warlike.
Wonder if that tree is still there.
Ooh.
The Croatoan.
But here's the other thing. That would be like the Croatoans, like the people on the New World. That would be like a word that I feel like would be.
That's probably an English word for them.
Well, yeah, but it also would be like in the lexicon and in the front of everyone's mind. So like the fact that it was carved into a tree, I wonder if that wasn't the only clue. Like a kid could have learned the word in school
And just happened to have done it.
and just carved it in a tree because
Yeah.
it's like an alien word to them. If that
They're also
makes-
called the Hatteras tribe.
Oh.
Some believe they assimilated, while others suggest they fled due to hardship, conflict, or disease.
Has anyone talked to the Croatoan?
Has anyone reached out for comment?
Has anyone reached out for comment? I have to know before we get into the weird stuff what happened to the Croatoans. My guess is it's not a nice history, especially if they were peaceful.
Yeah. It's also interesting that the Roanoke word is in Kansas City. That's interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a famous American
Like a
word.
landmark. Yeah.
By the late 1600s and early 1700s, the Croatoan tribe as a distinct group disappeared from historical records.
Not soon after.
The Croatoans disappeared.
Not long after, actually.
So Roanoke disappeared and then the Croatoans disappeared.
Skinwalker.
Skinwalkers.
The Wendigo.
What is going on? Well, okay, let's get into our weird stuff. This is primarily sourced from Dr. John O'Keefe and Charles Berlitz, who both wrote books on either the Bermuda Triangle or magnetic fields and time distortions. Here's weird theory number one. It was a time portal, Nick.
Time portal.
A magnetic anomaly. So Roanoke Island, I don't know if this is not taught in school, has been studied for its unusual geomagnetic activity, which some theorize could create spatial distortions or gateways. Magnetic anomalies, like in places like the Bermuda Triangle, are known for unpredictable magnetic fields. Similar disturbances have been reported around Roanoke Island, suggesting there could be a warp in space-time. John O'Keefe from the University College London has hypothesized that spatial distortions could explain the disappearance, possibly causing the colonists to slip through a rift into another time or dimension. The lack of physical remains and suddenness of the event adds to the speculation. Or it could have been a dimensional rift, which has been linked to other mysterious disappearances and magnetic disturbances, which we would have no way to measure at that time.
Yeah.
This wouldn't even be like a... I'm sure some people would be like, oh, they were taken by angels or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. Well, okay, in the Algonquin mythology, they use the word Wendigo for Skinwalker. They are a shape-shifting creature associated with starvation, cannibalism, and the wilderness.
ooh.
A little off topic, a little
No. That's on topic.
beside the point. But I want to get
It's on topic. Don't lose that info because we might need to dig deeper into that here.
Yeah. Because the Skinwalker name is the Southwest. That's the folklore around that creature from the Southwest.
Now, to me, this whole time portal dimension thing isn't my favorite theory because it's such a big area. You know what I said? Like, I know the Bermuda Triangle is a big area, but to me, there's already this tribe living in the area. Now, there might be these geomagnetic like disturbances, and so to me, the portal isn't interesting because I think it just sucked up everybody. But it's interesting because a portal would imply that things can come out of the portal as well.
Can come and go.
Yeah. So to me, it's more like, did they go into the portal or did something come out of the portal? Which did, like, if this space is known for these, what did you call them?
Wendigo.
Wendigos.
It's kind of like a deer-headed sometimes walks on all fours, but sometimes stands up. And
Skinwalker confirmed.
yeah. And then I also looked up magnetic anomalies in Outer Banks, and they refer to one significant feature as the Brunswick magnetic anomaly, which extends from Alabama across Georgia and offshore to North Carolina's Outer Banks.
Ruh-roh.
Results from tectonic collisions that occurred hundreds of millions of years ago, where landmasses like Florida were sutured onto North America during the formation of supercontinents such as Gondwana and Pangaea.
What?
A tale older than time, apparently.
A tale older than time. So there might be, and here we go. We're going to just get into the what kind of creature took these things.
Okay.
We could call them Wendigos. Another possibility, and let's call them Wendigos, but in modern day, we would call them aliens. You know the whole Skinwalker Ranch? I saw a portal open and a 9-foot tall Skinwalker came out of the portal. It's this idea.
Okay.
That they were possibly abducted by extraterrestrials. Certain areas of the earth might be like little zoos. The fact that tribe disappeared too, though, dude.
Yeah. I mean, let's say...
Who knows? We have no history before this, so who knows if the Croatoans even had been there that long?
That's what I was going to say. Let's say it was a Wendigo, they wouldn't hang around, or there would be legend of it, right?
Yeah.
But if it was like a magnetic anomaly, they just know to don't go over there.
Yeah. But maybe the Croatoans were a group that were like, nah.
Yeah.
We're going to go over there. I mean, because this is such a unique case because there's nothing before or after. And by that I mean this is one of the first Europeans to land in the North America. One of the first. So we don't have a history of that tribe before they got there because they disappeared within a few years of this place disappearing.
A few generations.
A few generations at most. I mean, at most. So, and then the problem is this John White guy, he's literally the only source.
That is true.
Now, we know that they established the colony, and we know that, that's all documented. I'm sure they might even have names of these people who left from England. But one guy came back, and I wonder what he did after. Do you think he just, turned around?
Right? Because he would have known. Surely there would have been some communication about because that was they're going south down the coast. So they started way up in Pennsylvania or wherever Plymouth Rock was.
Yeah.
And so okay, this place is good. We're gonna go a little farther, a little farther, a little farther. There had to have been because they would establish trade routes and try to farm new land and fish new places to sustain themselves.
Right.
So
what they call the Croatoans again could just be a tribe that was kind of interloping in this area that you're not supposed to go into because of the anomalies. Well, here's what he did. I mean, I didn't know what I expected. He did a brief search for them. Maybe they were all out. And then he returned home. He did a brief search and then he went back to England. And then due to the Spanish Armada and all the tensions around that, he was never able to return. He lived out the rest of his days in England. So, fun theory, maybe they were having a field day.
They just went for a picnic.
Maybe they all went for a big picnic. He showed up at exactly the wrong time and was like, where's everybody at? I don't know what. I can't do an English accent. And then he's like, well, I guess they all died. And then he just went back. And then because he didn't bring back the supplies, they all died.
There you go.
Then they really did all die.
It
still doesn't explain why there's no bodies. Because I'm guessing people have been back to the site within a few years.
You would think that one or two people would have just died in a 3-year span of time, just because of the conditions, and maybe
There'd be a graveyard or something.
Right, there would
3
be
years.
something. Maybe not. I don't know. Anything can happen.
Oh my gosh. So he was unable to follow up on his lead of Croatoan. Let's get back into the weird. The Croatoan carving might be a deeper sign. Modern day UFO sightings in the region of Roanoke Island have been experienced and reported, with unexplained lights, glowing orbs, leading credence to the idea the settlers may have been taken by these things. Do the aliens come from portals? Some researchers believe the settlers' sudden disappearance was part of an alien agenda.
No, you guys head over on your boats. We'll meet you over there in our spaceship. We'll go through the portal.
Yeah. And of course, anytime you read this, because his only clue was that carving, like this speculates, and it cites Whitley Strieber for some reason. This speculates that Croatoan could have been their way of saying something not us.
Yeah, I was looking at the etymology of the word. It's like there's not a clear that maybe it was just what the island was called.
Oh.
And not necessarily referring to what the people would call themselves.
Right.
And then it also kind of just says a word of significance, possibly related to a marker or a message, though no definitive translation exists.
So it could literally mean anything, because keep in mind, this guy, it's all from one guy.
Right.
He gets there. He says, we've run out of stuff. I'm going to go back get stuff. I'm going to the store. I'm going to get some milk.
Get some tins of beans.
Goes back to get his beans and toast. The frickin' Spanish Armada gets in the way. It takes him 3 years. He comes back. He's got this word on there. They might have had a whole experience with this tribe or this word that he would forever be completely unfamiliar with.
Yeah.
He didn't hang around and name these people, and it's just speculated.
This is interesting. I like these history mysteries.
Oh, yeah, you like that? Yeah, I do, too. I like history mysteries. So we would call them aliens. You call them Winnebagos. What was it again?
Yeah, Winnebago.
The Winnebago.
Wendigo.
The Wendigo. I guess up to this point, it's important to emphasize that this all comes from this one guy. Undeniably weird, his story. But I would say the Croatoan thing has been historically the thing you learn about in school. But I would say undeniable, the UFO sightings and the portal and the magnetic anomalies that have been measured around there are almost, to me, a better source of evidence of what may have happened. And the fact that tribe themselves disappeared. That'd be amazing if they taught this in history, like you're in 5th grade and they're like, the time aliens took all the people. Kids, we're going to learn about the Wendigo, the horned beast, the antler-horned skinwalker.
See if I can pull up a picture so you know it.
I'm going to Google a Wendigo. We'll drop a picture of a Wendigo. Somebody's drawn a picture.
It's creating an image.
Oh, Lord. I just looked up Google.
Yeah.
Not pretty.
Oh, yeah, that would be terrifying.
So, I think your skinwalker thing is where it's at. That's where I'm going with this. I think it's a place, it's like Skinwalker Ranch, where there's magnetic anomalies, which means there's creatures, which means there can be a taking of this tribe, of this colony. So let's talk about the spiritual significance of the area.
Okay.
It's spiritually significant to the surrounding tribes, including the Algonquin, which have long held stories of the land holding mystical or supernatural powers. These tales speak of areas where time behaves erratically, or where people vanish without a trace. Roanoke Island may have been considered by these tribes to be a place where the boundary between worlds is thin, which we now have scientific evidence for. And I will note,
Cape Fear is in the Outer Banks.
oh really?
Yeah.
I will note that a lot of UFO sightings, a lot of Skinwalker Ranch stuff it's just orbs, not physical craft. It's sentient plasma. And we have gone down, we'll have to do a longer one, but we've gone down the sentient plasma rabbit hole. I'll wrap this up. By the way, this comes from the Lost Colony, a study of American ghost stories by Charles Ciaramera, the North Carolina Ghost Society, David McDonald, the Croatoan legend from 1998, which is a history of the spiritual and mystical history of the region. The Algonquin have stories of the land, quote, taking people. It's echoed in several of their creation myths and local ghost stories. One such legend in the Roanoke Island area in particular could be a place where spirits or forces of nature claim those who enter it. Rooted in folklore, this idea has persisted among locals who believe in the lost colonists were simply swallowed by the land. To me, this is all one thing.
Yeah. It's hard to separate these things now.
Yeah. Now that we've mind fucked ourselves.
Yeah.
What are you finding?
I'm trying to look at like a map of the.
We're gonna solve this right here. This is gonna be a 9-hour episode until we solve this.
I mean, it's kind of like a weird. It's literally like just this thin row of.
It's called the Outer Banks.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. That looks like a weird. There are these little like jetties or whatever you want to call it to get through it, but it's just like this thin line of land. Like it's come up like this underwater, but it's like away from the coast as it is now.
1960s, the disappearance of the Barbara, a fishing vessel that went missing off the coast of the Outer Banks in the 60s. Its crew is one of the many unexplained maritime events in the area. Despite extensive searches, the ship and crew were never found. The lost graves of the Outer Banks, particularly in places like Ocracoke Island, burial sites were of early settlers and shipwreck victims, but rumors have persisted. Many graves are unmarked or the bodies have disappeared. The land has taken them. People often visit this area looking for lost graves. The mystery of the Nog's Head Woods, a large, densely wooded area in the Outer Banks. Local folklore includes mysterious disappearances of people who wandered into these woods. Sightings of shadowy figures and unexplained phenomenon in the 20th century. The case of ghost ships on the Outer Banks. In the 1800s, there were mysterious ghost ships. The ship known as the Caroline Deering was a tall ship that became famous for its abandonment near Cape Hatteras in 1921. The ship was found stranded on the shore with no crew aboard. 1925, the disappearance of Benjamin R. Latham, a tanker ship that disappeared in 1925 under mysterious circumstances after passing the Outer Banks. The phantom lights or orbs of Hatteras Island.
Hatteras was the name of the place where that was one of the names for the island that they landed on. Hatteras.
The phantom lights.
I also asked it about Bigfoot, if there were any Bigfoot sightings, because
missing 411.
You brought up the portals, and I was like, okay, Bigfoot's happened around that. It says of the limited reports or sightings, that's where they are in the region, is this area.
This Hatteras Outer Banks Roanoke region. How about this one? 1918, the USS Cyclops, a massive Navy cargo ship, mysteriously vanished. March of 1918.
That
traveling between Bermuda and It looks like Maryland, and was gonna go through this area. Wow.
There would definitely be a record of that. Also, some of the other ones too. But they also mentioned the Goat Man in Nag's Head Woods. Tale began circulating in the 70s. Something killed all this guy's goats. It was like a tall man seen with a large boar.
What? A skinwalker.
Yeah. Half man, half goat.
Bro. So it doesn't end with... So Roanoke's the beginning.
That's the beginning of our interaction with it, yeah.
And it's never stopped.
Every 10, 15 years, something significant happens.
Yeah. A ship disappears. A grave disappears. Goat Man.
Goat Man.
Goat Man.
It's the first I've ever heard of Goat Man.
Dude, so even that tribe, man, they ran into the Goat Man. Don't go in the outer... Don't go there.
I feel like there was a show called Outer Banks, too.
I know there's Outer Limit.
I don't know what it... Oh, they look for a treasure. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, orbs.
They face constant conflict with a wealthy elite group known as the Kooks.
So, hey.
It's a treasure hunt. I thought it was spooky, but...
If your kid comes home or somehow Roanoke Island gets brought up, tell them about the orbs. Tell them about the Goat Man. Tell them about all the missing ships. How the tribe itself went missing. It's not just a story before Plymouth Rock. This is like an American Bermuda Triangle. Imagine the luck, dude. You leave England, you choose this particular island, and you chose the freaking Goat Man Orb Island. Just the bad luck.
It's like, can I get the no corn place? Can I get the angry natives place?
Stopping on an island is an odd decision.
Yeah.
Well, any final thoughts?
No, I'm sticking to my Wendigo theory. I believe it was an ancient horror that was the demise of these people.
An eldritch horror.
The only other explanation is that he just went insane and killed all of them.
120 people. Then he killed the tribe. And then he's like, I gotta go fight the Spanish Armada.
Yeah. I don't know. It is so... Because there would be, like, going back from now towards that time, there would be historians, even, like, 20, 30, Yeah. They would go try to find a record of anyone.
Yes.
Because that's what they were doing. They were trying to, like, chart a new land, so for there to be no sign... I don't know, I guess you could...
Something lured them.
Yeah.
Either that or they did just run away because it was so weird there. There were goatmen and orbs and UFOs and portals, and they were like, we gotta go. And they just went and died somewhere else out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it caused a hysteria. There's like, it's very like, I assume a lot of these people were very religious and could create a hysteria with no direct like explanation.
Yeah.
So they would just cause them to go insane.
Oh boy.
And yeah, they probably just fled.
If you like this history stuff, hit us up. We're going to keep looking for more history stuff.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. We love you.
We love you.